Hello and welcome to our last section of Unit 1. We're going to talk a little bit about measurement and the metric system. And you probably know that in science, we always use meters, grams, liters. It's part of the International System of Measurement, or the SI system. And we use the SI units because we want to be able to communicate with other scientists in other countries, regardless of what their local measurements might be. For instance, someone in some foreign country might not have any idea what an English inch is, and we wouldn't be able to communicate very well with our scientific data if we weren't using the same systems of measurement. So in science, we always use the International System of Measurement, the SI system, and for length, we measure in meters or millimeters or kilometers or whatever. Mass, we use the grams, and volume is liters. Time, we use seconds, and temperature, we use degrees Celsius. So next, we're going to just look at how you convert within SI units. I don't know if you have done this before, so bear with me. If you have and you're a little bored, you'll get a wonderful review. And if not, hopefully you can understand what we're going to do here. So let's start with length. When we use the SI units, we use meters. It's represented here by an M. And we have these other units within there, millimeters, centimeters, kilometers. We have hectometers, decameters, and decimeters. Those are not really used very often, but millimeters, centimeters, and kilometers and meters, those are used frequently. So I wrote down here little conversion factors, if you will. There are 1,000 millimeters in 1 meter. So 1,000 of these in a meter. There are 1,000 meters in a kilometer. Okay? If we look at just millimeters and centimeters, there are 10 millimeters in 1 centimeter. You can look at a ruler to see that. And there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So I wrote those down here just for reference. But you should be able to have those memorized and figure those out on your own. Now let's do a little conversion problem. Let's say we want to convert 2 millimeters into centimeters. How would we do that? Let's start with what we have. We have 2 millimeters, okay? Any number divided by 1 is that number. So just you guys know that from math. We're going to turn this into a fraction, 2 millimeters divided by 1. Now we're going to multiply that fraction by 1. Now this doesn't look like 1, does it? But if we look up here, we know that 10 millimeters equals 1 centimeter. So if I put 10 millimeters on the bottom, and that's equal to the 1 centimeters on top, if the numerator and the denominator are equal, that's 1. So any number times 1 is still itself. So I have not changed this, but I am changing units. Now I could have put the millimeters on the bottom or on the top. Why did I put them on the bottom? I put them on the bottom because the millimeters on the denominator will cancel out with the millimeters in the numerator. Okay? And it will leave me with only units of centimeters in the end. So I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to multiply all the way across 2 millimeters times 1 centimeter. And I'm going to multiply across 1 times 10 millimeters. Now if I punch this out on my calculator or do it in my head, I'm going to get 0.2. Millimeters cancel out and I'm left with centimeters. So I have 0.2 centimeters as the answer. Now let's apply this to mass. It's just the same, only instead of an M, I have a G there. It stands for grams. Now, centigrams are really rarely ever used. So for the most part, you will use milligrams, grams, and sometimes kilograms. So I wrote those conversion factors right there for you. Let's convert 75 kilograms into grams. So we start with what we know, 75 kilograms. I'm going to divide by 1 times our conversion factor. So we're going from kilograms to grams. So we want to know that 1,000 grams equals 1 kilogram. I'm going to put the 1 kilogram on the bottom so that the kilograms cancel out, and the 1,000 grams on the top. So I'll be left with units of grams only. Now, When I go on to write this out, 75 kilograms times 1,000 grams divided by 1 times 1 kilogram, that's pretty easy. I get 75,000, these cancel, grams. And that's my answer. 75 kilograms is the same as 75,000 grams. Now, let's try volume. When we talk about volume, we're going to talk about liters, okay? And once again, similar to math, centiliters you rarely see that ever. Milliliters, liters, and kiloliters you might see. But so I put those conversion factors right there. 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter, 1,000 liters in 1 kiloliter. So here's our problem. Convert 4,000 milliliters into kiloliters. Now I'm going to take you through this the long way. All of these, I'm taking you through it the long way so you know how to do this. 4,000 milliliters is what we have to start with, over 1. I am going to convert that first into liters. Here's the conversion factor I'll use, and I'll use 1 liter equals 1,000 milliliters. Okay? So right now, we can cancel out milliliters. And then I'm going to multiply by this conversion factor, liters to kiloliters. 1,000 liters equals 1 kiloliter. Okay, and I'll put that here. I'm going to put liters on the bottom so I can cancel out liters, right? And now I'm going to just write this out. 4,000 milliliters times 1 liter times 1 kiloliter. And on the bottom, I'm going 1 times 1,000 times 1,000, 1 times 1,000 milliliters times 1,000 liters, and I'm going to get my answer. Here our milliliters cancel out, our liters cancel out, and I am left with just kiloliters, 0.004 kiloliters. So now I want you to try it. Convert 600 centimeters into millimeters. So go ahead and pause or rewind if you need to remember how many millimeters are in a centimeter, or whatever you need to do, and then you can see the answer on the next slide. Okay, here's the answer. We start with 600 centimeters times our conversion factor, 10 millimeters to 1 centimeter, and we get 6,000 millimeters because the centimeters cancel out. And that was pretty easy, wasn't it? One more example. Let's do something a little more difficult. Suppose you have a rectangular area measuring 10 meters by 20 meters. How would you do this problem? What is the area in millimeters squared? Okay, I'm going to write down what I know. I have 10 meters times 20 meters. Okay, now I'm going to use my conversion factor of 1,000 millimeters equals 1 meter. Okay, and I have meters cancel right there, but I also have another meter right there. What am I going to do? So I'm going to need to multiply by that conversion factor again, and then my meters will cancel, okay? And you can see that you're going to have millimeters times millimeters in your answer. It's millimeters squared. So when you do the whole problem, we get 200 million millimeters squared. Advanced proficiency, I would ask you to come up with your own challenging problem. Maybe something with English and metric units, converting between them. You should be able to apply this to anything. You can just move the decimal points on these, but I want to make sure you understand how to go about the math this way so that you can convert anything from anything to anything in multiple steps if need be. So for advanced proficiency, show me how you can do that, applying it to other types of unit systems. Thanks.